بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز آل سعود حفظه الله ورعاه، أصحاب السمو، أصحاب الدولة والسعادة، ضيوف المملكة الأكارم، أيها الإخوة والأخوات، مرحبا بكم يا خادم الحرمين الشريفين، وأنتم تتفضلون بتشريف حفل افتتاح منتدى الرياض الدولي الإنساني الذي ينظمه مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية. خير بداية لهذا اللقاء ولكل لقاء قبس من نور السماء. الشيخ الدكتور عبد العزيز بن علي بن نوح يتلو ما يتيسر له.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تلهكم أموالكم ولا أولادكم عن ذكر الله ومن يفعل ذلك فأولئك هم الخاسرون. وأنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي أحدكم الموت فيقول رب لولا أخرتني إلى أجل قريب فأصدق وأكن من الصالحين ولن يؤخر الله نفسا إذا جاء أجلها والله خبير بما تعملون. صدق الله العظيم.
خادم الحرمين الشريفين، أيها الحفل الكريم، الكلمة الآن لمعالي المشرف العام على مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية والمستشار في الديوان الملكي الدكتور عبد الله الربيعة.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سيدي خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز آل سعود حفظه الله، أصحاب السمو والمعالي، الضيوف الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. مرحبا بكم يا خادم الحرمين الشريفين في المنتدى الدولي الأول الذي تحتضنه الرياض عاصمة مملكة الخير والعطاء. سيدي خادم الحرمين الشريفين، في شهر مايو من عام 2015 ميلادي وجهتم رعاكم الله بإنشاء مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية ليكون مركزا دوليا رائدا في العمل الإنساني ينقل قيم وطننا الغالي التي نستمدها من تعاليم ديننا الإسلامي الحنيف إلى العالم أجمع، ويجسد الدور الإنساني للمملكة ورسالتها العالمية في الدعوة للسلم والسلام ونبذ الإرهاب والدمار. لقد استطاع مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية، والذي تشرف بحمل اسمكم الكريم وبتوجيهاتكم السديدة ودعمكم المستمر ومتابعة ودعم ولي عهدكم الأمين صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير محمد بن سلمان بن عبد العزيز حفظه الله، أن يسهم خلال فترة وجيزة في رفع المعاناة الإنسانية عن المجتمعات المتضررة في 40 دولة ب4 من قارات العالم من خلال 300 41 مشروعا إغاثيا، وأن ينقل صورة مشرفة عن البعد الإنساني الذي تنتهجه هذه البلاد المعطاءة وقيادتها الكريمة وشعبها المحب للخير بعيدا عن أي دوافع أخرى. ويتم ذلك من خلال الشراكة مع منظمات الأمم المتحدة والمنظمات الدولية والمحلية غير الربحية. واليوم وبتشريفكم الكريم يحتفل المركز بتدشين منصة المساعدات السعودية التي أقيمت بتوجيهاتكم وإنفاذا لأمركم الكريم في مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية، حيث تعد أول منصة تقام في المنطقة بهذا الحجم لتعرض الجهود الإغاثية والإنسانية والإنمائية التي تساهم بها المملكة ويشارك فيها العديد من الوزارات والجهات المعنية في المملكة، وبنيت على أعلى المعايير الدولية. كما يواكب تشريفكم الكريم للمنتدى إصدار المجلة الدولية الإنسانية للمركز في نسختها الأولى التي تعنى بالبحوث العلمية في الجانب الإغاثي والإنساني، والذي من خلاله يمكن دعم المناطق التي تحتاج إلى جهود إغاثية وإنسانية وتطوير العمل الإنساني فيها. وإنفاذا لتوجيهاتكم السديدة قام المركز ببناء شراكات متينة مع 120 منظمة أممية ودولية ومحلية، إضافة إلى شراكاته مع الجامعات السعودية والعالمية، ليكون مرجعا عالميا في الدراسات والبحوث الإنسانية والأعمال التطوعية، إعلاء لقيمة العمل الإنساني وترسيخا لدور المملكة العربية السعودية الريادي في هذا المجال، وتماشيا مع رؤية المملكة 2030. سيدي خادم الحرمين الشريفين، بحضوركم أيدكم الله ورعايتكم يشاركنا اليوم قيادات ورواد العمل الإنساني في العديد من دول العالم، وأكثر من 80 منظمة أممية ودولية وإقليمية ومحلية. ويشتمل برنامج المنتدى على 4 جلسات رئيسية، ويعقد أكثر من 20 جلسة فرعية، إضافة إلى عقد العديد من العمل يشارك فيها أكثر من 70 متحدثا يعرض خلالها الخبراء ورواد العمل الإغاثي والإنساني خبراتهم وأعمالهم العلمية في خدمة هذا المجال. كما سيصاحب المنتدى معرض يشارك فيه المهتمون بالعمل الإنساني. ولا يفوتنا أن ننوه بدور منظمات الأمم المتحدة والمنظمات الدولية في الإعداد لهذا المنتدى، وأن نثمن جهود جامعاتنا السعودية ودعمها المتواصل الذي تجسد في مساهماتها العلمية ومشاركة كوادرها وخبرائها تحقيقا لتطلعاتكم يحفظكم الله، وحرصا على الخروج بتوصيات علمية مدروسة. ولا أغفل كذلك جهد منسوبي مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية الذين تفانوا بجهدهم وعملهم الدؤوب دون كلل أو ملل. ومن المؤمل أن تكون تلك المساهمات والجهود بإذن الله رافدا لجهود المجتمع الإنساني الدولي، وأن تساعد في دعم آليات تمويل العمل الإنساني، وتسهم في زيادة أثره على المستفيدين منه، وتشجع وتدعم المبادرات والابتكار، وتدعو لزيادة الدعم المجتمعي الذي يخفف من المعاناة الإنسانية الدولية. وختاما، لا يسعني إلا أن أرفع لمقامكم الكريم باسمي ونيابة عن كافة منسوبي مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية وجميع المهتمين بالعمل الإنساني كل الشكر والتقدير والعرفان على ما تقومون به يحفظكم الله من جهود عظيمة لدعم العمل الإغاثي والإنساني وتطوير آلياته. والشكر موصول لأصحاب السمو والمعالي والسعادة الذين شاركوا وساهموا ودعموا هذا المنتدى، ولضيوفنا الكرام أصحاب المعالي والسعادة رؤساء الجهات والمنظمات الإنسانية وجميع المنظمات الأممية والدولية والإقليمية والوطنية المساهمة والداعمة، كما أشكر البنوك المحلية والشركات والمنظمات الراعية. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز آل سعود حفظه الله، أيها الحفل الكريم، تشاهدون الآن فيلما قصيرا بعنوان الوضع الإنساني حول العالم.
منذ قديم الزمان علمت الصحراء بنيها أن الإنسان عون لأخيه الإنسان، أن الرحمة والأخلاق الفاضلة هما العنوان. جاء الإسلام فحث على إغاثة الملهوف، وأكد حق الجار على الجار، أمر بإطعام الجائع وستر المحتاج العاري، ودعا لمساعدة الضعفاء وتكريم المرأة والطفل وإيواء النازح عن أرض أو دار. من تلك القيم الراقية الفضلى صيغت شخصية وهوية مجتمع كامل. منذ تأسيس المملكة العربية السعودية اهتم قادتها بالأعمال الخيرية والإنسانية ملكا إثر ملك، فامتدت أيدي الخير إلى أرجاء المعمورة، تدعم وتساعد وتمول أعمالا لا محصورة. وعلى مدى 6 عقود كان للأمير الشاب سلمان بن عبد العزيز آل سعود دوره الرائد والمحمود في حملات الدعم الشعبية والأعمال الإنسانية ورئاسة الجمعيات الخيرية. ما إن تسلم الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز حفظه الله مقاليد الملك، حتى أمر بإنشاء مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية، ليقدم المساعدات إلى جميع المحتاجين بغض النظر عن العرق أو البلد أو الدين. حول العالم تتفاقم آلام ومعاناة وكوارث، أوبئة وصراعات، وملايين تتشرد وتهجر، أوضاع تتدهور. لذا وجب العمل معا كي نتعاون ونغير واقعهم نحو الأفضل، كي ننجز عملا إنسانيا دون كلل. ندعم ونمول البرامج الإنسانية والمشاريع بهمة وتسريع، نؤوي عائلة نزحت، نسقي أفواها عطشت، كي نمسح أحزانا ودموعا، كي نطعم إنسانا يتضور جوعا. نؤمن أن العمل الإنساني عطاء وحياة وجهود، تسمو نحو إنسانية بلا حدود.
والآن يا سيدي تشاهدون تسجيلا بالفيديو لكلمة معالي الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة السيد أنطونيو غوتيريس.
I thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for organizing this forum. With humanitarian needs higher than ever, we must do more to assist the most vulnerable and to ensure the protection of civilians. Crises in Syria, Yemen, Iraq, Libya, and occupied Palestinian territory are causing horrendous suffering. Yet, humanitarians face numerous obstacles, including life-threatening ones reaching people in need. Humanitarian action works, and timely action is crucial. Last year, the international community helped to avert famine in South Sudan, Somalia, Yemen, and northeastern Nigeria. And support by donors made the difference between life and death. I call on global and local leaders, governments, and people everywhere to show solidarity with all those caught up in conflict, disaster, or instability. Shukran.
معالي الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة متحدثا لمنتدى الرياض الدولي الإنساني، خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز يحفظكم الله، تتفضلون الآن بتدشين المنصة الإلكترونية للمساعدات السعودية.
توفيقا للجهود الإنسانية والتنموية والخيرية التي قدمتها المملكة العربية السعودية على مستوى العالم، يطلق خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز آل سعود حفظه الله منصة المساعدات السعودية في مرحلتها الأولى. تتعاون جميع الجهات السعودية المانحة على إمداد المنصة بكافة المساعدات والمساهمات المقدمة من المملكة. يمر التوثيق بثلاث مراحل زمنية تشمل جميع التفاصيل. لا تزال عمليات التسجيل في مرحلتها الأولى مستمرة، فيما الصورة تتضح شيئا فشيئا عما قدمته المملكة لأجل الإنسانية جمعاء.
وتتفضلون أيدكم الله بتكريم المتبرعين والرعاة. أوقاف الشيخ سليمان الراجحي، أوقاف الشيخ سليمان الراجحي ويمثلها الشيخ صالح الهبدان. سيتشرف المتبرعون والرعاة بالسلام على خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز، الذي يتفضل أيده الله بتكريمهم تقديرا لدورهم في التبرع لهذا المنتدى ورعايته. أوقاف الشيخ سليمان الراجحي ويمثلها الشيخ صالح الهبدان. أوقاف الشيخ صالح الراجحي ويمثلها الأستاذ عبد السلام بن صالح الراجحي. أوقاف عبد الله ومحمد السبيعي ويمثلها الأستاذ محمد بن إبراهيم السبيعي. مؤسسة الجميح الخيرية ويمثلها نائب رئيس شركة الجميح القابضة الأستاذ حمد العبد العزيز الجميح. الأستاذ مطلق الغويري. الأستاذ عبد الإله بن سالم بن محفوظ. وكبار الرعاة البنك السعودي الفرنسي ويمثله الأستاذ ريان الفايز. البنك الأهلي التجاري ويمثله الأستاذ سعيد بن عمر الغامدي الرئيس التنفيذي. ويتشرف الآن كبار الضيوف من الوزراء ورؤساء المنظمات الأممية والدولية بالتقاط الصور التذكارية مع مقامكم الكريم في هذه المناسبة التي تشرفون فيها يحفظكم الله هذا المنتدى الدولي الإنساني الذي يشتمل على الكثير من الفعاليات والتي تبرز الدور الإنساني للمملكة العربية السعودية بالتعاون مع عشرات المنظمات الأممية في مختلف أقطار العالم دون تفرقة في لون أو دين أو مكان. إذن تلتقط الصور التذكارية لكبار ضيوف منتدى الرياض الدولي للأعمال الإنسانية، والذي شرفتموه يحفظكم الله في هذه المناسبة التي يفخر مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية والقائمون عليه بهذه الرعاية الكريمة، والتي سيكون لها أثرها الكبير في أعمال المنتدى. يتشرف الآن المشرف العام على مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية المستشار بالديوان الملكي معالي الدكتور عبد الله الربيعة بتقديم هدية تذكارية لمقامكم الكريم بهذه المناسبة، تعبيرا عن صادق الولاء والمحبة من المركز والقائمين عليه شكرا لكم يا خادم الحرمين الشريفين على رعايتكم، وسلام الله عليكم جميعا ورحمته وبركاته.
سيداتي وسادتي أهلا وسهلا. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Fadl, please, let's take our seats. Let's kick off for a very exciting afternoon session. I know that we've had lunch. I know that we're probably feeling a bit sleepy after lunch. Don't worry, we've got a lot of things that will energize you, engage you, and give you tremendous insight into the wonderful world of humanitarian aid and support. So seats please, ladies and gentlemen, and I will kick off with this very exciting afternoon panel discussion. Now, Subha, what we did was we created this little tradition wherein right before we'd start, what I asked you to do is I thanked you, I said thank you for being here with us, you're a beautiful audience, and what I said that it's a good idea to get some energy into the room by giving yourselves a round of applause. So I think I'm going to do that again. Thank you for being here. Please give yourselves a round of applause. You see, this is exactly what I was afraid of. This is what I was afraid of. It was an okay round of applause, but it was an after lunch round of applause. It was a sleepy round of applause. Let's do it again. Let's do it a bit better. Ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a proper round of applause. Much better. See, I told you that you guys were a fantastic audience. You're just proving that to me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to it. الحين عندهم panel discussion. So we've got a panel discussion for you right now. I'm sorry if I got the Arabic wrong on this. أنا أتعلم عربي يعني, so sometimes I get it right, sometimes sometimes it's mia bimia, sometimes it's not, but please be patient with me. And we'll get there. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to tell you that we've got another high-level strategic panel discussion. As you can see, some of the August panelists have already taken to the stage, and their moderator is with them as well. She moderated a panel earlier today, which was incredibly well received. She is a BBC-trained journalist and director, and has flown in to support our event from Dubai. Your moderator for this session is Eve Hester-Wine. Please give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Eve, I'm going to let you take over and please introduce your wonderful panelists. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you later.
Thank you very much, Hisham. Now, the second high-level panel discussion today regards humanitarian financing and capacities. I am delighted and honoured to be joined by an extremely knowledgeable and erudite panel. His Excellency Ambassador William Lacey Swing, Director General of the International Organization for Migration. Please give Ambassador Swing a round of applause. Thank you. His Excellency Jose Graciano da Silva, Director General, Food and Agriculture Organization. Thank you very much for joining us, Jose. His Excellency Mahmoud Moheldin, the Senior Vice President of the World Bank with responsibility for the 2030 Development Agenda, United Nations Relations and Partnerships, the World Bank Group. His Excellency Dr. Kerem Kinnick, President of the Turkish Red Crescent and Vice President of IFRC. And His Excellency Jean-Louis de Brouwer, who's the Director of Europe, Eastern Neighbourhood and Middle East of DG ECHO. So, without further ado, gentlemen, let's get down to business. The question before us is how we generate money. Should we do it via partnerships, while still keeping an eye on the fact that we need to remain financially sustainable? Let's have a look this afternoon at the multidimensional aspect of generating money. Let's have some initial remarks from Ambassador Bill Swing.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. It's a great honor for me to be with you, and particularly on this distinguished panel. I want to start by thanking the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and its people and government for the important initiatives been taken here by convening us all, and for its generosity over a number of years concerning the various conflicts in the area here. I would want to make perhaps 3 points. I'm not sure how relevant they're going to be to the question of raising money, but I want to put this in the broadest context possible. I like alliteration, so I think I have 3 Ps. The first one is the perilous condition of the world. I think the issue that has brought us together here these 2 days is itself a dramatic reflection of the state of our world. We are living in a world in disarray. We're living in a world at odds with itself. If you consider that we have unprecedented armed conflicts from the western bulge of Africa to the Bay of Bengal. I probably missed 1 or 2. And the difficult part of this is that there is no short to medium term solution in sight for any of them. I hope I can be proved wrong. It would be wonderful. We also have unprecedented, therefore, forced migration. 66 million people forced to leave, largely because of forced conflicts, but also because of the demographic divide, climate change, natural disasters, and other things. So this is the first thing that, so despite reaching more people than ever before, the current resources and the structure of the humanitarian system are simply no longer able to address the scale and complexity of these protracted conflicts that we have, as witnessed by the gap between needs and resources. I think that it's quite clear, therefore, second point, that the Secretary General's emphasis on a prevention policy is extremely important. It would be hard to convince me that some of the conflicts we're talking about now were not preventable or could have been solved in the very short term had we as an international community been much better organized and much more focused, and had we had the political will to put these things right. So I think this is, we've certainly got to avoid any more conflicts, because right now it's a struggle. These 9 or 10 conflicts are all in competition with one another for very scarce funding. When I left the Central African Republic after a visit recently, I said to the head of the government there, I said, your problem may not be what you think it is. Your problem is, how do you keep your country in the headlines long enough to get the resources that will be required for the suffering of your people throughout this beautiful country? I guess that, therefore, the gap between humanitarian needs and available resources has grown more, and it will continue to grow until we resolve these conflicts. And therefore, the other problem, of course, is the leadership gap. The gap between the leadership needed and the leadership available. There's an appalling lack of political courage and will to address a lot of these situations. Priorities are quite clear. We have to continue to try to save life, to help the vulnerable, to prevent the deaths that we're seeing now in the Mediterranean, the U.S.-Mexican border, the Bay of Bengal, and elsewhere. Now, the grand bargain will help us in this regard. But my final point will be exactly that, partnerships. We've got to do this together. And I'm delighted, and I think even in this, even the media, it seems to me, is a very important partner, and we should treat them as a friend. I would conclude simply by saying, because I know we've got a lot of speakers in a short time, that we need to understand, take three actions simultaneously. Meet immediate needs, concurrently address the root causes and the drivers of vulnerability, and support recovery and the resilience of the affected populations. We've got to bring together the disasters, development, and the longer-term period of transition and recovery. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Swing. Moving to Jose Graziano da Silva of the FAO. Mr. da Silva, do you agree with these comments? Can you elaborate on them in any way, please?
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. Yes, I do. And I would like to make a point also that despite we had increased our humanitarian actions, I don't see that we have been more effective. And that's my point here today. It's not only about funds, but I think that we are focusing too much on the emergence side of our actions and neglecting the, let's say, the long-term or the development side. In our case, in FAO, our motto is basically to save lives, we need also to save their livelihoods. And I would like to stress this point. I'll give you an example. We just finished an assessment in Syria, and we found out that 70% of the people in rural areas stay there and stay producing almost all the food they need to survive. So we need to support those people to stay there. This is a priority, like the others that have been displaced. I'll make another point. In our action in Somalia in 2011, we took a long time to come in with cash transfer, cash for work, for example, and provide some money for them. And we failed basically with the pastoralism to restock their herbs. So at the end, they lost their herbs. And what happened with a pastoralism that lost the herbs? It's like for a worker to lose the job. Until you provide him some opportunity back to do another job, he will do nothing. And that's, we still have in Somalia, in the camps, pastoralism from the famine of 2011. 7 years late, we have the same people there because we failed to provide them the means to come back to their livelihoods, to their normal life, let's say. A pastoralism without sheep, goats, or even cows is nothing. It's a problem, additional problem for that. And we are failing exactly on that. To add a component to look for bringing people back to their lives. We are addressing the refugees, we are addressing the camps, we are saving lives. I agree with this priority. I'm not saying let them die, no. But what I'm saying that this is not effective. If we don't add to that emergency component, this another approach to save the livelihoods where people live, we will continue to fail. There will be no money enough to do that because the numbers are increasing, as Ambassador Singh said. And we will not be able to cope with that because we are accumulating crisis after crisis. Protected crises are become forever, like the pastoralism that sustained the camps in Somalia. 7 years after, we had a very successful intervention, but we failed to bring them back to their lives. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. De Silva. I think before we go any further, if I could just ask some members of the audience, could you please put your phones on silent, as it's a little distracting for the panelists here. If you wouldn't mind putting them on silent. Moving to His Excellency Mahmoud Moheldin from the World Bank. Talk to us, if you could expand a little bit on, I think it's very clear that we're all in agreement that partnership is needed and that sustainability is needed. Talk to us about how the World Bank, where your perspective is on this.
Right. Thank you so much for the kind invitation to this panel. Very grateful for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for this organization and for the Center of King Salman as well. 5 things, and you can figure out where the World Bank can be in. And I think they could be just reacting to the 2 excellent interventions by Ambassador Swing and Mr. De Silva. when I entered my room yesterday, the TV was working, and it was running something interesting that I think can solve 80% of the problem if it is applied right. It was a quote by His Majesty King Salman that could be translated as political solution for international crises is the best way to achieve the peace. Everybody had been referring to figures that 8 out of 10 humanitarian crises are because of conflict or conflict-related. So if you have the peace, as emphasized by the King, as emphasized by the Secretary General, as emphasized by the commoners in the street, would be a good start for minimizing the need for any kind of finance coming from partnerships or otherwise. Then we'll be left with the 20%. The 20% of the crises are to do with nature, extreme weather changes, and climate change. Believe it or not, despite the fact that some people are confused about climate change, it's real. It's affecting everybody. You ask the farmers, you ask FAO, they can give you every day an evidence of that. I'm from a village myself. So how to deal with the other one? This is nature-related kind of crisis. We need basically to make disasters, dull disasters. This is a title of a book that I encourage you all to read. It's not by the bank, although that we can really associate ourselves with it. It's by two persons by the name of Clark and Durkin, and they are talking about how planning ahead will make a difference. It's basically how to invest in resilience and prevention to minimize the need for disasters. And we have seen that there is a great deal of learning in countries that were exposed in different crises in the past, from the east to the west, and the casualties are much less than what we saw in the past. Even including the most recent drought in Africa, the casualties, not just because of the good response of the UN system, but the people have been better prepared. The third, but this has something to do with us directly, is the investing in the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm proud that I'm in a country today that takes the 2030 agenda very seriously. Investment in Sustainable Development Goals will minimize requirements for funding because of failures in education system or governance or health systems. The fourth is to do with the cost effectiveness and the kind of monitoring that would be required under the notions of the grand bargain that was mentioned by Ambassador Swing. This is a very big approach conducted by the traditional donors but adhered to by the new donors as well, on how to make sure that the money is being spent. And in our interest in the bank as well, to make the money spent on system and on record and within the developmental perspective. Because there was tendency in the past not to be very much careful with how we spend the money, perhaps under the pressure of disasters and crises. And the final thing is basically the partnerships. That naturally you would assume that this could be the first answer. You have a crisis, get the money. But you require the partnerships, including from the donors, from the good doers. The King today celebrated and recognized many of the good doers and the donors. But at the same time, we need really to get us in the development sphere, as we did in the case of famine. We put $1.9 billion, and we were happy to be the first respondents by money, to the first respondents by being physically there of the humanitarian system and the UN. We have partnerships with FAO, 36 million in Yemen, as an example, for the small dwellers and small agribusiness. We had a program in Mozambique. We have a variety of programs with IOM. The money that we put in Yemen, more than $1 billion that was spent during 18 months by the bank, had been spent through the UN system and the humanitarian agencies, including local communities led by women, because there are changes in the political economy dynamics. But we cannot really make a focus on one of the 5 elements. I know that there could be others with other elements, but those 5 elements should come really together as a package. Any kind of a compromise in one of them will not really help achieving what we're after in humanitarian finance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moheldin. A matrix approach, you would suggest.
Yeah.
Moving to Dr. Karim Kinik, President of the Turkish Red Crescent and Vice President of IFRC. Can you expand on the remarks made by your fellow panelists?
Chair, I would like to thank to Merkez Malik Salman and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for this great gathering. How we are generating money, actually systems can generate money. And to be honest, we have some systematic problems as the humanitarian sector. We as the mankind, we established several mechanisms for protecting lives, protecting dignity, providing hope for the future generation. But we have some systemic problems. We have to fix that problems in advance. We have security mechanisms, we have security institutions like UN Security Council, but mainly focused on the temporary resolutions like ceasefire, temporary ceasefires, instead of preventing wars or conflict resolution or peace-building processes. So we have development agencies, but unfortunately, in the same era, we are living with our brothers and sisters, 1.5 billion population are trying to survive by $1.2 US daily income. So if we measure the under the earth in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the richest country in the world, but on the earth, the poorest country in the world. So we have some systemic problems. We have institutions, we have agencies, we have actors, we have good management systems, innovations, tools, softwares, but lack of governance, I believe. So we need holistic approach. If we consider the humanitarian sector, actually, there are 31 types of natural disasters. But according to ICRC, there are 41 active armed conflict, man-made disasters in the world now. So everybody aware of the facts and figures regarding that, the effects. But I have to say, we are suffering as the humanitarian landscape lack of financial resources. If we compare humanitarian sector with the cosmetic sector, less than 10% we have. If we compare with the defense sector, less than 1%. But luckily, thanks God, equal with the chewing gum sector as the humanitarian sector budget annually. And lack of the governance, the humanitarian actors suffering because of to short-term and mid-term financial resources. We need long-term financial resources for implementing long-term programs and projects instead of emergencies. All our actors, even Blue Family, UN agencies, or Red Family, Red Cross and Red Crescent societies, or NGOs, or development agencies, the longest period for the appeal programs, maximum 1 year. It means very short. And if we consider the numbers, figures providing from the accountants, yes, we have 30, 40 billion annual budgets, but this money belonging to whom? Let me give you 2 examples. World Food Programme operating excellent humanitarian assistance in the South Sudan. Annual budget, $1 billion US. And 70% of that annual budget goes to the logistical costs, because only way to reach the remote areas, airdrop. If we give our example, Emergency Social Safety Net Program, Kızılay Kart Program, founded by the UN, European Union ECHO, 1 billion euros budget, and more than 75% goes to beneficiary directly. It means we need to consider the beneficiary point of view instead of the income. So there is a Bitcoin. Maybe we can explain some humanitarian coin, and we can calculate benefits from the beneficiary's point of view instead of the money, because some expenditure costs more than 50%, 60%. So meaningless for the beneficiaries. For generating money, we need loyalty. For generating money, we need holistic approach as the security policies, development policies, and the humanitarian and the disaster policies, because we are at the hotlines as the humanitarian actors, and we have no protection, only our emblems. So there is no forces for protecting our health workers. So for long-term implementation, we need development agencies as humanitarian actors. And for sustainable financial mechanism, we need private sector, banking sector. So we need to good governance as the humanitarian sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jean-Louis de Brouwer, who's been waiting a little while. Listening to all the different views, what's your view from your own particular organization's perspective?
Well, thank you very much. Let me first say that I'm extremely honored to be part of this very distinguished panel. And I would like to convey to all of you the kind regards of Commissioner Christos Stylianides, who is in charge of humanitarian aid in the European Union and who could not be with us today because of other conflicting commitments in Brussels. Similarly, he wanted me to convey his warm congratulations to the King Salman Center for having conveyed this high-level visibility event on humanitarian issues and affairs at such a point in time in this part of the world. Now, this being said, let me start by maybe shooting myself in the foot. How to raise money, not by doing what we are doing nowadays. That is to say, we have a crisis, a pledging event. We have a crisis, a pledging event. We have a crisis, a pledging event. We had the pledging event for Iraq. We're going to have a small pledging event for Ukraine the day after tomorrow in Brussels. We're going to have one on Yemen. We're going to have one on Syria. I'm told that there are pledging events which are in the making concerning the financial situation of UNRWA, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Somalia. So at the end of this pledging event, you come with what you could call mixed feelings. Either you made a big pledge and you feel grand, or you compare the level of the pledges to the one of the need and you feel sad. So we definitely have to get out of, I could not agree more with what President Kinnick said, the kind of short-termism we are in for the time being. I would recommend everybody the reading of a document which is a little bit forgotten now, which was a report drafted by a high-level panel on humanitarian financing, report to the Secretary General of the United Nations. The title was Too Important to Fail, addressing the humanitarian financing gap, and it was released in January 2016. I mean, the so-called grand bargain negotiation came out of this. But what people forget is that actually the grand bargain was only one of the three pillars of the actions which were recommended by these experts. And the two other ones are absolutely essential if we want to gain our credibility as fundraisers. The first one is about, and it was said eloquently by Ambassador Swing, shrinking the needs. Shrinking the needs, dealing with the root causes, investing massively in resilience, investing massively in peace building, investing massively in disaster risk reduction in countries which are prone to natural disaster. If we fail, we are going to pay the price, and not we, but the populations are going to pay the price. Look at what happened in Central African Republic. We thought that this country, this poor country of Central Africa, was out of where it was. Now it's sliding back. So something was not done the way it should have been. And if you want me to be a bit more daring, I would say that I'm extremely concerned about the way the Iraq reconstruction agenda is approached for the time being. One has to take very well good care of what some colleagues of mine called once the soft side of reconstruction of the country, which has to do with reconciliation between communities which have been exterminating each other for years. So shrinking the needs and increasing the aid efficiency and the aid effectiveness. That is the grand bargain as such. We have to show credibility as donors and partners. It has to do, indeed, with moving much more to cash than what we did in the past. It has to do with more predictability in funding. It has to do with enhanced accountability for the side of the partner, because after all, as donors, very often we are using our taxpayers' money. I would not bother you with all the 10 commandments which came out of the grand bargain. And indeed, when it is about fundraising, we have to explore new ways and means. I'm a big fan of partnership, private-public partnership. We are promoting that for the time being, amongst others, in the area of innovation. It's not about corporate social responsibility. It's not about CEO's philanthropy. It is about the business case. It is about the business case. Private entities have to be convinced that, hey, there is a business case for you to invest in humanitarian. And if you make profit, so be it. Profit is not a pornographic word, neither also in the area of humanitarian aid. We have to find new ways, new instrument. I mean, there is an endeavor for the time being which is being developed by the Red Cross, the so-called social impact bonds, that should be certainly further explored. The remittances. Remittances are usually seen only as a tool to promote and support development. They can also be seen as a tool to help supporting the efforts of the local community when coping with a disaster. Similarly, I mean, behind the resistance, you have the diasporas, which can mobilize themselves and help their fellow compatriots. So, indeed, I mean, we are confronted with an unprecedented gap between needs and resources, but before going to the pledges, we have a series of steps to be taken. Thank you.
An excellent and straight-talking speech there from Jean-Louis de Brouwer. Your response, Ambassador Swing, I thought in particular one phrase that stood out for me was our credibility as fundraisers. How do you think that we're going to be able to maintain that and improve that?
I do think credibility and trust and integrity are the cornerstones of effective aid programs. And I dare say, I'll introduce it again because it was mentioned earlier today, the way in which our humanitarian colleagues relate to beneficiaries, extremely important. Because the economic gap between a peacekeeper, for example, and the local population is enormous. And it lends itself to misbehavior and actual exploitation of very vulnerable people. We've had instances of that over the past number of years. We've all made strides toward improving it and strengthening it through training, through orientation before people arrive on post. But we continue to have problems of that. I think credibility and transparency and integrity also relate to the manner in which we report to donors. Regular reporting. So we have to understand donors also have parliaments to deal with. And they need to be able to go back and say the $1 million that we gave for this project was used in the following fashion. And all of us ought to be willing to ourselves to go and appear before parliaments of the world and say, this is how we've used your money. Here's where we had some problems. We apologize for that. It didn't go. We have a case right now where we work in West Africa with the European Union Trust Fund. We were very slow off the mark because we had to surge people into all of these West African countries from Senegal to Cameroon. And frankly, we didn't surge quickly enough, partly because we didn't have the people. And to get the right people takes a bit of time. But that's not an excuse. That doesn't work. And I think a little humility and modesty and occasionally a confessional moment is very helpful in terms of the integrity of what we do. Because people are in competition for scarce funds, and the one who can show that they have a credible program and they are delivering results, quick results at a low cost, I think is going to be partly the manner in which that's going to determine who gets the money.
Thank you, Ambassador Swing. Speaking to José da Silva, sorry I can't quite see you down there. A response to the two comments that have gone before, if I could ask you how you see fundraisers maintaining their credibility, and also just moving on to something that we might have mentioned a little earlier, where do you see the gaps between the donors and the humanitarian organizations?
Let me first agree with what Ambassador Singh just said. I think these 2 points, the reporting back and try to reduce our costs and be more transparent, I would say, on the way we spend the money would help a lot to keep the credibility. But I believe that the main gap is on the coordination issue. I think that we are lacking on coordination on both sides, on donor sides and also among ourselves, the Asians and let me elaborate a bit more. On the donors, we see a competition that's not always a good competition, that who comes first and put the flag there. And most of the time, this duplicates efforts. And also, it comes late at the end. Despite all the efforts to put the flag first, the reaction comes only after things happen. We don't have funds that are flexible to build, for example, a fund to act on early actions or on preventive action. Sometimes you know something is going to happen. We have in place, for example, the IPC, that's a very good monitoring system that gives us accurate data about food security or food insecurity. And we know when famine is arriving. And we do nothing until we have famine declared. Then when you have famine declared, everybody jumps on the famine issue. And that became a well-known problem. So on the other side, on our, let's say, internal coordination among the teams that work on humanitarian, as I said before, we need to connect much more with the development side that are missing. But in addition to that also, I think that there is little coordination at the field level where we really need to act together. So it's very good, the partnership, make MOUs and shaking hands and talking good things about everybody. But when we come to the ground, we're still competing in a bad way. So it's usual to take people from one organization to another one, paying a bit more, or to offering some advantage to local providers to get first the things you need and things like that, that is not compatible with the work we do.
Mr. De Silva, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we're a little bit short of time, so if I turn to my other two gentlemen here, just asking you, I would ask you both, first Mahmoud Moheldin, if you could pick one thing to have emerged from the discussion today, what would be the main thing that has stuck in your mind?
Right. Very simple. We, as a development agency, and I think the humanitarians as well, when you do reports, we do report as statistic. And if we reverse that statement by Stalin, who knows something about death and killing, he said that the death of 1 million person is a statistic and a death of one man is a tragedy. We need really to make it from the positive side, about saving people's lives. And when we see then the 1 billion people that I was talking about spend jointly in partnerships with the UN systems, with the humanitarians, with ICRC, and with others, including the center here, how many lives have been saved? Yes, in numbers, I can say that 5 million children have been immunized against polio. I can say that 1.3 million households or more than 7 million individuals received cash transfers. But if we transfer these statistics to individuals who could be us, I think all of the efforts in terms of partnerships could really be meaningful. This money came from the taxpayers. It's not the World Bank money. It came from IDA, which is the fund for the poorest, spent through humanitarian agencies for the first time. What I like to see is, as we are good today, relatively speaking, in crisis and crisis management, and the fact that disasters get us together and we relax our bureaucratic tendencies, I think in the more important part that have been mentioned in different ways about prevention, about minimization of the need for such money, when we are spending money for peace, when we are spending efforts for peace and for minimizing the impact of disasters, we work as good. This is the thing that we are not really seeing, because the pressure of the crisis is not upon us when you are trying to put this kind of money to prevent the disaster rather than dealing with it. And for that, we are bringing with us some professionals, including the private sector, the insurance companies who know something about data, evidence, pricing risk, and guiding us as well, even as a financial institution, in this new area for us.
So accentuate the positive. I think that's a very good point. Dr. Kinnick, what would you accentuate?
Actually, financial sustainability and the capacity building. Before providing resilient services to the communities, we have to create resilient organization in the ground. It means like a disaster risk reduction. We are spending money for the disaster risk reduction, let's say $1, is equal $8 during spending money the disaster intervention. We have a lot of big size NGOs, bingos, ingos, a lot of goals we have. But if we cannot empower the local actors, small actors, it is really highly cost for us for providing humanitarian services continuously to the affected communities. So financial sustainability and the resilience, we need more empowerment to the local actors.
And a final word from Jean-Louis de Boer. How do you see, wrap up for us in your succinct, inimitable way?
Credibility, I mean, we have to stay what we are, that's to say principled, neutral, independent humanitarian donors. And we have to focus to the most vulnerable and show that you are actually focusing to the most vulnerable by, for instance, in a humanitarian situation, whether it is a natural or man-made disaster, showing the capacity to indeed go immediately where the most acute needs are. We have also to be daring enough to measure our intervention not in terms of output, the number of ratios distributed, but in terms of impact. I mean, did we actually improve the life or the livelihood of those who we helped? And I would, last but not least, fully agree with what Director General Da Silva said about coordination. I mean, after all these years, and notwithstanding the many commitments from all sides, donors and partners, we are still pretty much living in silos, both at field and headquarters level. Thank you.
Okay. Could we have a round of applause for our panel? An honour to listen to such expertise on this afternoon in Riyadh. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wouldn't mind staying in your seats, there are some announcements to be made. I'll hand over to Hisham Wine. Thank you very much.
Hello and Helen, ladies and gentlemen. I think you were very generous with that round of applause, but I'm going to bother you a little because I suspect, and in fact believe in you people. We can do better, not just in terms of the humanitarian aid, but also in terms of applause. So let's give that wonderful panel another proper round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you guys are going to like this, and that's why I believe that it's important to keep the applause going, because while we have been diligently investigating ways of purpose-fitting humanitarian aid and paradigms in theory to the challenges and difficulties and protracted, prolonged conflicts of this era, there have been loads of positive developments, ladies and gentlemen, that have been happening at the back. There's been a lot of deals being made to provide succor to people, to provide relief, to provide support. There's agreements that have been inked, and it is my privilege and pleasure to be able to tell you that we're going to announce some very exciting agreements right here, right now, at this humanitarian forum. The other thing I'm going to tell you is that I am not going to be the individual announcing them. Instead, well, first I'm just going to wait for our panelists to disembark. Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen. That was a great panel. Thank you. Thank you, Eve.
السعادة الحضور الكريم، يوقع مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية عقدين لمشروعين إغاثيين وإنسانيين يوقعها معالي المشرف على مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية الدكتور عبد الله الربيعة والسيد ويليام ليسي سوينغ المدير العام للمنظمة الدولية للهجرة. المشروع الأول سيكون في قطاع المياه والإصحاح البيئي بمشيئة الله عز وجل، وذلك لتوفير المياه وحلول الصرف الصحي وفق المعايير الدولية لنازحي الروهينجا في جمهورية بنغلاديش. أما المشروع الثاني فهو في قطاع الحماية، وهو مشروع للدعم النفسي والمجتمعي للمواطنين السوريين المتضررين من الأزمة الإنسانية في اليونان من الأطفال والشباب والنساء.
نحن سعداء اليوم بتوقيع عدد من الاتفاقيات اليوم مع شريك مهم وهي منظمة الهجرة الدولية، وسوف يوقع عدد من الاتفاقيات مع منظمات أممية ودولية على هامش هذا المنتدى، كما سوف تدشن قافلة إنسانية على هامش هذا المنتدى. كل هذه الفعاليات تؤكد أهمية الشراكة بين مركز الملك سلمان للإغاثة والأعمال الإنسانية والشركاء المهمين من الأمم المتحدة والمنظمات الدولية والإقليمية والمحلية. فنشكر شركائنا على هذه الشراكة المهمة لرفع المعاناة الإنسانية في العالم أجمع. شكرا لكم.
شكرا معاليكم.
Thank you very much, Mr. Executive Director. It's a great honor to be able to sign this agreement, particularly with you, sir. You've been such a good friend and been so helpful to us, and also in the presence of this very august assembly today. It's a piece of paper in a way, but it also is a mark of trust and confidence on the basis of which we can build other instruments to expand the relationship and to show that we have a genuine partnership. And so I'm deeply honored to, this is in some ways a beginning, but it will lead to many better things, not just for us, but for the suffering and vulnerable people of the world. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, fantastic news as we can see. An agreement signed between the King Salman Center and the IOM. Mabruk, this is amazing news. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this agreement signed and announced right here in front of you deserves a round of applause for these wonderful people. Let's give it to them. Remember that this agreement will offer community support for communities, children, women, everybody, and also for water sanitization initiatives that are becoming ever more prominent in today's day and age. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you, before you leave, I have a couple of announcements. I know everybody wants their tea, but can I tell you, when we reconvene, one of your sessions has moved. The OCHA session, the Humanitarian Funding Gaps, Challenges, Responsibilities and Opportunities session that was going to be in Hall C is now in Hall 2. So from Hall C, we've moved to Hall Ithnan. So when you come back, if you're interested in that session, please know that that's going to take place in Hall 2. Excellent. More good news. So, also, the rest of the sessions remain the same, ladies and gentlemen. They're in your schedule. The role of non-traditional donors, regional organizations will continue in Hall GH. It's by IGAD, Improving Humanitarian Response Through Academic Research. It's a nice big one by the scientific community. Media coverage in the humanitarian field, challenges and opportunities in Hall 3. Now, ladies and gentlemen, more good news, something quite exciting. The King Salman Center is conducting city tours. Sa'a Khamsa wa Nus, they're going to start with city tours now and take you on an exploration of the wonderful city of Riyadh and the capital of 5:30. 5:30, Khamsa wa Nus, at the lobby. So if you want to explore the sights, sounds and beauty of the kingdom's capital city, meet us in the lobby at 5:30. And 5:30 is also, I believe, the time that we're going to, and that will be towards the end of the day. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your coffee break. We'll see you back here after the breakout sessions. Thank you very much, and I'll see you shortly.